I want to take a moment to share what mimic streams actually are. So we know that there's this beautiful sacred geometry of the universe. The earth has her own sacred geometry. Every being has their own sacred geometry. So every tree, every blade of grass, us, we all have our own sacred geometry that makes up the large pattern, the pattern of the whole entire universe, universes, the multiverses, everything. So it makes up everything. So so if you look at us as a sacred geometry, yourself as a sacred geometry, the image that comes to me often is like a tapestry or like a tatted, something that is tatted or crocheted, like a doily or something like that. Or you can think of it as like a web, like what a spider weaves the web. We're constantly in motion of weaving our sacred geometry. We're wholeness in motion. We're not brokenness trying to find itself again. We're wholeness in motion. So our light always remembers itself because we're this wholeness in motion. So if you think of whether like the web of a spider weaving its web, it has these threads and it threads it around. Well, each of those threads are frequency signatures of the wholeness of our sacred geometry. And when we chose to come into the earth, into this earth plane, into this galaxy, into the Milky Way galaxy, it's a denser galaxy. So when frequency comes into a denser galaxy, it takes on a form. And so as taking on form, there's this possibility of fragmentation occurring. And so that's what we are experiencing when we come in and we forget who we are, we forget the wholeness of who we are. It's fragmentation. And it's not a punishment, it's a possibility. We can choose to continue to fragment, or we can choose to continue in our weaving. And so is what these mimic streams are. We say they're mimic streams, or we call them distortions, dark entities, parasitic systems, those different things is what they are, is they are choice points. They're choice points. They're bringing us into this. It's where our energy fragmented. And it's a choice point for us to invite our frequency back in or allow it to continue to fragment. And so the way it continues to fragment is that we approach it with fear, we approach it with anger and hatred and disconnection. And the way that it becomes the wholeness of ourself, the way we realign it or align it back so that it becomes our frequency self again, is through love, through acceptance, through welcoming it home. So I've done different videos about, tapping the thymus, that energy system in our physical body that can bring in these frequencies and reconnect them correctly and allow the energy to flow out. So this is really, so mimic streams is what they are. They're choice points. They're choice points where we can connect to our higher knowing, or we can choose to allow it to continue to fragment. So it's really about reframing your thoughts around this is the first step in being able to invite your full frequency self back into form. Because remember, you chose the frequency stream that came in from the wholeness of who you are, chose to come in because you carry very specific coding that is needed to weave the patterning that is being woven here as a collective. And so the more that you are able to reframe what mimic streams are, what distortions and parasitic systems, dark entities, that type of thing, when you're able to see them as choice points of where your fragmentation, where you have fragmented, where your frequency has fragmented, coming back home to self, that with love, with compassion, it's that pure love, that joy, that bliss. When you're able to reconnect it into your weaving, your sacred geometry, then it is no longer fragmented and you no longer experience distortion, what we see as distortion or mimic streams or dark entities or anything like that. So I just wanted to get it on here really quick and share that with you because we are coming into this space of it's time for us to really fully connect to our weaving, fully connect to the wholeness of our sacred geometry, and to remember that we're wholeness in motion. And so our frequency is constantly moving. Energy doesn't stop moving. Energy is in constant motion. And that's what we are. And so when we're here on the earth, because fragmentation occurs when we come in, is what we're doing, is what we get to experience, is the reconnecting. And it's not even really reconnecting, it's just we're flowing into our stream. We're flowing into our stream. And so it's just this continuous, beautiful flow. But it's when we meet it with resistance and anger and hatred and fear that it in the description I will be linking a couple videos that I've done recently on distortions and blockages. In those videos, there's some practices, if you will, that you can use to assist you when you meet with those choice points of the mimic streams or the distortions or the blockages, to help you to continue in your flow, how to help you to reconnect your frequencies so that you can continue in your weaving here on this earth. If you enjoyed the content of this video, please subscribe to my channel. If you feel the call to support this work, I've shared ways to offer energy exchange in the description below. Your presence is already a gift.